Hi, we're Roy and Karen, and this video is celebrating our 30th wedding anniversary.
30 years you put up with me? That's
And
unbelievable. But I found a place with a lot of wine. Can you see it back there? We're gonna celebrate with red meat.
Our Brazilian steakhouse experience, one of our favorites.
But you know what? We're gonna save you from watching us eat, and we'll finish the rest of this video back at the house, okay? See you there. I thought for our anniversary we could reminisce about our wedding and about our honeymoon.
Well, we can still remember most of it.
What I remember was the fact that it was a miracle we even got married.
Isn't that the truth? Oh my gosh, there was so much happening back then.
Well, this was right in the midst of the 1994 Northridge earthquake.
And we moved in together in October, and January 17th, 1994. At what time in the morning?
4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, that was a whopper, and that was pretty devastating.
We both had job issues because when the earthquake happened, you couldn't get to your job.
Freeway went down. All my clients were on the other side of it.
And then when we were planning this, back in those days, I was an atheist, and Karen wanted a pastor to officiate, but I didn't want him to mention God.
Couldn't find anyone to do that.
And she still married me. And I think that was because during the earthquake, she heard me screaming out, "Oh my God, oh my God."
I figured there was hope.
I do remember you designing the colors and the food and all the details of the wedding, working with the planner at the Odyssey on this hillside overlooking the San Fernando Valley. Beautiful place. The colors were to complement your beautiful red hair.
Peach and green.
I remember that we had a DJ, and he was awesome. He just took care of all the details.
Just a great guy. Well, that sure pulled everything together. He just kept it moving and flowing, and everybody engaged and active.
And got all the old guys to get up there and hike up their pants. And after the wedding, your friend Charlie took us to the airport by LAX, Los Angeles International Airport, and our flight to Costa Rica wasn't leaving till the following day. Now, before we get to the actual honeymoon, we ought to talk about the planning for the honeymoon. I just remember that here we were, not having jobs or just starting new ones, and we just didn't have the kind of income we'd had before the earthquake. But when it came time to talk about all the planning for the wedding and the honeymoon, Karen had saved up from our measly income enough to pay off the entire wedding.
And then my customer that I worked with quite a bit, who also had a travel agency, Michael Sheridan, and he had told us about this resort that was brand new that he learned about in Costa Rica, and it's going to be amazing, and it's a great opportunity. We should do this. And we're like, Costa Rica? Who would have thought of Costa Rica? But okay, it's all about the budget.
I didn't want to go to Hawaii. It just seemed like everybody goes to Hawaii.
And Hawaii's
to
expensive.
Me, when you mentioned Costa Rica, I was like totally on board. Yeah. This sounds great. They were giving bargains to get people to come in there and check the place out.
Get their name out there and get it known. And boy, what an opportunity. It was amazing.
One of the things we had to decide on was, once you get into San Jose, what was included was a bus ride from San Jose to the West Coast.
Through the jungle, down a dirt road.
For 6 hours.
If you're lucky.
Both ways. We were going to lose 2 days of our week there.
Put into travel time.
The other option was pay, I think it was a total of a couple of $100, less than a couple of $100, and we could take a 6-seater plane to the coast. And we opted for that. And it was terrific. It was
good
definitely
choice.
the way to go. The name of the place is Playa Tambor. I do remember my first impression of this place. It wasn't the entry. It wasn't the bars or the pools or any of that. It was that when we went into our room, it smelled like bug spray.
Boy, did it. But it was also very crisp, and the air conditioning worked very well.
Very, very well. Over time, you got used to the bug spray smell.
And you certainly appreciated the air conditioning.
And I never saw a bug. I never saw a mosquito, or I was afraid maybe they had giant roaches that would bite your head off or talk to you in the middle of the night or something. I mean, we were in the jungle. But the grounds were beautiful. As we walked around, it was all this lush greenery and flowers.
It's
very
beautiful
tropical.
Sight. It had carved out of the jungle. The jungle was right here, but all this beautiful grounds and a beach and harbor. It was just amazing, absolutely amazing.
It was all inclusive. They had buffet restaurants you could go to, but they also had this really beautiful place you could go at night. It was like a giant hut, but it was completely open all the way around it.
And looked out over the harbor there, so you had the beach and the water and the fireflies.
And fireflies every night just twinkling all around it. I wish I had video of that. It was so awesome. 30
years ago, our technology was a little different.
But for breakfast, we would go to this little buffet area, and again, everything was open. There were no windows except in our room. Everything else was open air. And we've talked about this for years because we don't know what it was. It was some kind of cheese thing that tasted so unique and so delicious, and we've never had anything like it since.
And we ate it every single day while we were there.
It was so good. And this was also my first time having black beans.
Black beans and rice, yum.
And that's become one of our staples. Because you're in the jungle and because it's open air, you never knew what was going to show up. And I would say probably half the time, this toucan would show up and hang out with us while we were having breakfast.
And when he was gone, his buddy the macaw took a tour through.
It was really amazing. The second most favorite place, past that breakfast buffet, which was the bomb, was the swim up bar. And I just remember we would go to that bar multiple times a day to get pina coladas. And then it was time for a nap.
Another way to refresh while we're swimming around the pool, and then definitely naps were in order. Naps on the chair by the pool, naps in the hammock.
And the hammock was right by the beach. Now, I'm surprised that there were no pictures of me taking a nap, but I do have pictures of Karen. Every night they had entertainment. And I don't really remember the specifics of the entertainment other than to say it was kind of like what you'd get on a cruise ship, just not as good. Remember, this place had just opened up. It was brand new. It was enjoyable.
We enjoyed it, yeah.
It was enjoyable enough that we partook in it every night.
Right.
As soon as we walked in, the moment we walked in and we went to the desk to check in, we noticed that there were flyers or brochures or something talking about all the different kinds of excursions that were available to us over and above the fact that it was all inclusive. So we'll get to the all inclusive part in a minute. But we went back to the room and needed to have a conversation right away and book what we wanted. One of the things we booked was a horseback riding trip. We were galloping. I mean, I trotted before, but we galloped through the fields all the way to the beach, and then we galloped through the water on the beach.
Well, I remember galloping along the beach, and I remember galloping through the field, and the guide took us over to another open air place to get a drink and get refreshed before we went back, and it was just everything was wonderful.
We booked an ATV tour. And our guide on this tour, he was constantly saying, Pura Vida, the pure life. And we didn't know what he was referring to specifically until he got us way up on top of this mountain. And he says, okay, we're going to start hiking over to this waterfall. And every afternoon would rain. So there were puddles in the dirt road. And he goes, okay, everybody grab some mud and put it all over yourself. And then we're going to wash it off in the waterfall. And Pura Vida, Pura Vida. It's like,
turns out that's a face mask.
After we got all cleaned up from the mud in the waterfall, he took us to his mom's place. This was such a unique experience.
Just a simple rustic home out in the middle of the jungle.
With, again, no windows. The screen had openings this big. It was just to keep the animals out, not to keep the bugs out. And then he took us for a walk through the jungle. And we were getting hit by things, and we really weren't quite sure. We kept feeling things on our backs. And then I finally saw that it was fruit. It was little things of fruit. And I thought, oh, they're probably just falling out of the tree.
Nope, the monkeys were throwing them at us. Get out of here. You don't belong here.
It was pretty crazy. We took a boat tour. We have pictures. I remember snorkeling by the shipwreck. But that's about all we can remember. It's just too long ago.
And it was a pretty quick trip, too. I don't remember. I don't think I even got in because the water was kind of rough. But
I remember that my mask leaked and I really didn't see anything down there. And
but it was a good lesson that get a custom fit mask.
Or get one that fits.
Yeah.
Bring your own. At some point in time, and I don't know when it was, I don't know which tour it was, but on the drive back to the resort, they drove through this little town. Mm-hmm. Don't even know what the name of the town was. Maybe that was actually Tambor. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But you saw hammocks out in front of one of the stores.
One of the little shops, yeah.
It didn't seem from the journey that it was very, very far away from the resort.
No, and we weren't stopping there, so it was just a drive-by on it.
So we had no clue. But we did know that if we walked out to the beach from the resort and looked down there, we could see where the town was.
Maybe 2 to 3 miles along the coastline. It wasn't very far.
2 to 3 miles on the sand. So we decide to take a walk. We get maybe a mile down the road and we come to this little creek that's coming down from the mountain and empties out into the beach, and we went past it and we kept walking. And at that point we started seeing other resorts that were on. It was a small
resort that had a bar right on the beach.
Yeah, one of them had a little tiki hut bar, and their guests were drinking at the bar right on the beach. Mm-hmm. It was pretty nice.
So we continued on by, went and got those hammocks that we loved and enjoyed, and all our family and friends for many years.
Many years. We did buy them, mm-hmm. 2 of them. On the way back, we stopped at that little tiki hut mm-hmm. to get refreshed, to get some nice tropical drink. And we started talking to the folks that were there. And one of the guys there was actually from Southern California.
Orange County. He had a chicken restaurant. And
we were from Southern California at the time. We happened to mention to the folks there, oh, we're going back to Playa Tambor.
And they all laughed. Good luck with that.
Why? What's the problem? He says, well, you'll never be able to get past the roaring rapids out there.
We're like, whatever, that was like a trickle. No big deal. What's your deal? Yeah.
So we walked a mile down the road to where it was, and it was roaring rapids. We were there in wet season, which meant every afternoon it would rain up in the mountains, and all that rain would come out of the mountains and flow all the way to the ocean.
And turn our creek into a roaring river.
So we couldn't get back to the resort. So we went back to the bar, and of course they all laughed at us.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy from Southern California said, "Hey, no worries, I'll give you a ride back."
Because I have to make a stop. Hop in the back of my truck, and we'll go on inside. If you follow us inside to get out of the shade, don't talk to anybody. Okay.
So we
So
went
he
where he,
finishes his business. We all get back in the truck. He takes us back to the resort, and out come the guards from the guard shack, guns drawn, and we're like, "Whoa! What has happened here?"
they say, "Get in here! What the hell's the matter with you
Don't
people?"
you ever do that again.
We don't know what this guy was known for in the area, but obviously he was known by the guards at this resort. And I think we were just lucky.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
Wake up call. We were blessed that time, but maybe we want to rethink those decisions next time.
we were pretty dumb folks. As I mentioned, the resort was all inclusive. And it did include lots of things that we could do at no extra charge. For example, there were sailboats there, little Hobie Cat sailboats, but we didn't know we were doing that. But they had kayaks. So we took the kayak, we took two
person kayak.
A two-person kayak. We went out in the ocean, and I remember having our little Casio digital camera. That camera did not survive this trip. Photographs were coming out with rust stains on them.
Yeah, and that was the end of that camera.
But we had so much fun.
Oh yeah, such amazing memories. Absolutely amazing memories.
They treated us so well.
They really did.
It's no surprise. It's a 5-star, really expensive place now. But our time's up. And we got to go back to San Jose. We hop on that little plane again. Mm-hmm. We're back in San Jose, and we have time to kill.
Want to spend a few hours exploring San Jose before we have to go catch our flight.
Now, we remember driving around San Jose and looking at people's homes and such. We love doing that. We still do that today. Every time we get someplace, we go to Maine. Let's just drive through the neighborhood and look around. But we have no recollection of how we did it. We certainly didn't rent a car.
It wasn't a tour. I think we just had a taxi driver say, "Hey, show us the highlights."
And it was only for maybe an hour or two at the most.
Who can remember after 30 years?
Yeah, 30 years, my honey.
30 years, my honey.
Mwah. August 19th, 1995. That's our honeymoon. If you want to know the whole backstory on Roy and Karen, I will put our story in a nutshell right here. In the meantime,
We appreciate you stopping by.
see ya.